Midweek, Wednesday, first week of the program. Harold Reynolds, Matt Vasgersian, Lauren Shahadi with us as per usual, and a packed slate of guests today.
Yes.
Packed. In addition to our Steve Phillips, who's going to join us in a little bit, Matt Arnold, who is the Executive of the Year in Major League Baseball, running the Brewers and doing a great job. He's going to join us. Jesus Luzardo with the Marlins. Brandon Gomes, General Manager, World Series champion, Los Angeles Dodgers. And Mark Topkin of the Tampa Bay Times to fuel the speculation as to where the Rays are going to hang their hats in 2025.
The video, when that came out about the Trop,
yeah,
you knew then they weren't playing that.
We all said the same thing.
Oh, my gosh.
That place is done
Devastating.
forever. Yeah.
I'm curious about the Executive of the Year. It's going to be fun talking to Matt.
Yeah.
But also, who else is in the running for that thing?
Well, he's won it. Matt has won it.
Yeah, I know. He already won.
Who was
I know
in the
that.
running?
Yeah.
I don't know that they do finalists for that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, though, off the top of our head, what other organizations do you think were a little bit of a surprise?
Who was like a worst to first?
Because what makes me think of it is like the Dodgers and the Yankees probably will never win that, even though they have challenges, even though they have the big payroll.
Because they can spend money?
Yeah.
Is that, yeah.
But you still got to keep players. You still have to make moves. I mean, you look at the Dodgers' injuries to reinvent the whole pitching rotation when you got $1 billion of pitching on the injured list. You'll never get credit for that.
Guardians were better than people thought. I think Mike Chernoff probably got some consideration there. There are others for sure.
San Diego.
Yes, that's right.
It's pretty impressive.
But we're going to have Matt
Does trade deadline matter? You know what I mean? Those type of things. Maybe a team made some moves for this coming season.
How about the fact that, the Brewers, they already have the Executive of the Year. They're probably going to have the National League Manager of the Year, too, and Pat Murphy.
They had a tremendous season.
They've never had a Manager of the Year, the Brewers?
You would think Counsell probably won one, right?
You Counsell, Garner.
Yeah. Back to Harvey Wallbangers back in the day.
Yeah. Harvey Keene.
Yeah.
George Bamberger.
Yeah.
Right? No, they've never had one. Anyway, while you were watching something else last night, there was some baseball news, and it was later in the afternoon, early evening, depending on where you live, that we learned of Shohei Ohtani's successful surgery to repair the left labrum tear that he suffered during the World Series on a stolen base attempt in the 8th inning when the Dodgers were leading 4-1.
It just didn't look like much. I mean, the way he rolled around, yes, but the slide itself.
And we could tell later on in the series, the way he was holding that shoulder, that he was gripping his uniform, he wasn't effective at the plate, that was troubling him. He is expected to be ready for spring training, and there are some recent examples of labrum tears for players 4 to 5 months away. They come back strong. Josh Young, a couple years ago in the minors. Mark Sales, our great researcher, reminded me of Logan O'Hoppe in 2023. Did it on a swing in April and missed about 4+ months and came back. So they're expecting a similar timeline for Ohtani. I mean, everybody collectively gasped when he stayed down on the ground.
But the interesting thing with Ohtani is he pitches. And they're playing that big series in Japan. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me you don't want him starting that first game in Japan.
You mean on the mound or at the
Yes. So how's he going to be able to pull that arm through? How's it going to work? He can't do anything.
It may slow down
the pitching. So it slows down the pitching. It slows down everything.
Yeah, I didn't even think of the early opening. The Dodgers do not have a lot of time before they get into camp. We'll talk to Brandon Gomes about that when we have him on the program a little bit later on. Yeah. You wanted the definition of a labral tear.
Yes.
And here it is.
All right.
For the unindoctrinated, this is according to Penn Medicine, and we have a noted Penn Medicine physician ready to verify this slab, if you will. Shoulder labrum is a type of rubbery cartilage that lines the shoulder socket called the glenoid. We're getting deep into the anatomical stuff today. The labrum helps keep your shoulder joint in place. When the labrum tears, you may feel shoulder pain or experience shoulder instability. Thank you. Labral tears are usually caused by overuse or injury and commonly accompany other injuries to the shoulder.
So the reason I asked that.
We got Dr. D-Row. He vouched for all that.
I used to be one of those other guys, Matty.
Oh, did you tear your
When in doubt, get the peek on the try.
Peek on the tries. It'll fix your shoulder tears.
See, but I always think about a little different with Shohei because he's a left-handed hitter. All right, most people are going to pull the bottom hand through and you get this. Like Tatis, for example. Shoulder kept popping out of socket, right? He's pulling the bottom hand through, or even Corbin Carroll with Arizona, pulling the bottom hand through and you get this. Shohei's, it's his top hand. So he uses that top hand quite a bit, but my point is it's almost like swinging a hammer every time you swing a bat. And I asked him at the World Series, how many ounces is his bat? I thought it was going to be like 35 ounces or something like that. He swings a light bat, 31 and a half ounces. That's a light bat for his size. So I thought, you know, it had to maybe come earlier on a swing and miss, and then he did something when he slid. So I think it was adding up with time. And if you look at some of the swings and misses he had, you go back and look at it all the way back to the San Diego series when you're trying to leave the house every swing, you're going to strain some things.
Yeah. And if you're trying to you know, obscure the medicals, and people are going to know, right? I mean, it was clear that something was wrong with him.
Yeah.
It's like trying to sneak a cheese past a rat.
Trying to sneak a piece of cheese past a rat.
We got all of our D-Rose soundboard stuff. Let's go to social media for this.
Best way to do it.
Lauren,
and they're not 45 years old, Lauren. They're 30s.
Take your
They're
blood,
mid-30s.
I'll take 20 million, maybe 21.
Yeah.
I'll settle for it.
Have you ever done any of that that kind of age-defying stuff, like cryotherapy or any of that stuff? I know you've never taken your blood and spun it like Harold.
Frozen. No, but girls do that. They take their blood.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say it because it's going to put it on the soundboard, and then they put it back on their face.
What?
Swear.
They do that?
By the way,
Instead of Botox?
I have a labrum tear in my hip, and I had no idea what it was until you put the definition on the screen.
See,
You're
it's the
educating
key to
America.
keeping guys healthy.
Oh, that's the key. 3 for 3 in attendance, by the way.
How about that?
Congratulations.
Told you I'm here all week.
Talk to me in
not
February when
committed.
you guys are batting under 500 in your attendance.
Oh, you bite your tongue. Do you guys have tattoos, yes or no? Don't
No.
lie.
I don't, but
Nope, I never
what?
would either.
You would.
oh, does it count the one right above my butt crack?
I cannot with you. You don't have a barbed wire on your arm?
No.
That is
I have-
so something you would have.
I have no problem with tattoos, but I don't have one.
This loyal Dodger fan got this tattoo on them. What is it? What is it?
Is that Shohei's homer?
It's Freddie Freeman's
Freddie
Grand
Freeman's Grand Slam?
This is fresh. You see
Wow.
the red on the screen, and if you forget, let us take you back. It's so cool. Forever in the history books. Freddie Free, number 5. What were you thinking when he stepped to the plate? Did you have...
I'm thinking game over. I didn't think Grand Slam, but I thought he was going to get a hit.
Yeah, there's
Game
nobody
over.
out, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
The game was
Then
over
when he
there.
held up the bat, I was thinking moment in time. But that's a trend. Remember in 2016, that guy got a Cubs logo
Yes.
Yeah.
on his eyeball?
Yes. How's he feeling now?
You guys thought I photoshopped it. We sorted through the emails, and they run the gamut.
Oh, God.
Oh, gosh, as you can imagine. Bill...
They might be ranked 8th or 9th best playoff team. You know what I mean? Like, you're putting the Padres ahead of them. You're putting the Phillies ahead of them. You're putting the Mets ahead of them. You're putting the Braves ahead of them, and the Braves just got unlucky because they had to play that doubleheader. You're putting, I mean, the Guardians played like crap, but the Guardians played better baseball around. Like, it was just a complete mismatch, and it's kind of the same feeling from 2018 when we had to go play the Dodgers. Like, the Red Sox were just a way better team. So all we knew is that we just had to play regular Dodger baseball. We didn't have to play out of our butts. We didn't have to do anything crazy, and we were going to win the World Series.
That's Dodger reliever Joe Kelly on the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. He appears on that frequently, talking about the New York Yankees. Said they might be ranked 8th or 9th as the best playoff team. Didn't feel like Joe really gave them a lot to do. What's your reaction? We watched this a couple times earlier, but you're seeing it for the first time. So what do you think? What do you think of the comments?
I mean, I'm almost with him. You know, when I started looking at the Yankees' run, what exposed the Yankees was their lack of fundamentals. They beat you with home runs, and the home runs covered up their mistakes. And they didn't run the bases well. They don't catch the ball very well. They got to clean it up. Do they have some talented players? Jazz Chisholm transformed that team athletically. So you think about what they did all year to get to even that point where they made the trade to get him. They don't get him. They don't get where they got to. And so I'm concerned about where they're headed. They may lose Soto, and now what? 'Cause he helped take you over the top. But they've got some things to clean up.
I just think it was the transparency like
and there's some
Joe.
jokes.
He just let it rip. He didn't hold back.
You don't really. You know
he
what?
Didn't respect the Yankees at all.
But I will say this: pitchers can say that because they got the ball. You imagine a position player saying, "Look, that staff isn't very good."
You know what, though?
And then they can sit there and throw at you all year.
Joe Kelly is one of my favorites because he is just gutturally honest. And when he did the wham face to Carlos Correa, that's still one of the funniest things that we've ever seen.
That's one of the best.
It does get you to thinking, like, if you were to kind of rework the rankings of all the playoff teams, now that we watched it play out, now that we know what the results were.
I don't think eighth. I think the Yankees are.
Well, can I give you mine?
Okay, let me
give you mine. React to mine.
Let's do this.
You know, Joe Kelly got us to thinking about this.
I'm going to write mine down while you're talking.
As an exercise, Harold, I got the Braves as 12th.
Wow.
They just were a shadow of themselves. I got Kansas City at number 11. They didn't click. Pasquantino was back, but it wasn't enough. Ursic was great in the postseason. I got Baltimore at number 10.
Yeah,
they were a different team after the break than they were in the first half of the season. Number 9 for me, and again, this is all my personal thing, so don't get on me, everybody. Houston was number 9. It just got them as a middle of the pack team. I think they would have beaten the Braves in a World Series. I think they're better than Baltimore and Kansas City. That's how I did it, like head to head. I got the Mets at number 8. Look, they caught fire. They had a lot of magic. But I think there were 7 teams in the postseason that were better than the Mets. Sorry. Number 7, I got Cleveland. They perennially disrespected. That's a really good team, and I wrestled with where to put them. Here are my top 6 as we keep going. And I know that's a little controversial having the Braves last, but their lineup was so decimated by injury. I got
don't have a
Milwaukee
problem with that.
Okay, you're good with that one?
Yeah.
I mean, they came a Devin Williams changeup away from getting past the Mets and maybe even beating the Dodgers in an LCS. Number 5 from last year's postseason teams, the Tigers, because they played so well. Their bullpen was so doggone
the Tigers. I'm not that high on it.
Okay, fair enough. Number 4 for me was the Yankees.
Yeah.
Because I think, not 8th, like Joe Kelly kind of said. I got the Yankees at number 4 because I think the number 2 and 3 teams also would have beaten them had they gotten to the World Series.
2 and 3.
Phillies at number 3. And the number 2 team, I still think San Diego was a better team than what they showed in games 4 and 5 of the NLCS against the Dodgers.
Yes.
And number 1, you can't argue the Dodgers just rolled everybody. I think that
I like
San Diego,
your top 4.
LA, San
really
Diego,
do.
and Philly all would have beaten the Yankees in the World Series. My personal guess.
I agree with that.
It's all
2 outs in the 9th. The Dodgers 1 out away. Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series! That's it! They finish the job and give Los Angeles the parade it's been waiting for! From down 5-0 to win it 7-6 in 5 games in this clash of the Titans, the Dodgers over the Yankees. It's the largest comeback win in a clinching game in World Series history.
Not as easy as people think to spend all the money in the offseason and end the season by hoisting the Commissioner's Trophy. You know, we talk about it a lot on this program. The team that wins the winter rarely goes on to win the World Series.
True.
And the Dodgers did it last year. And, boy, there's probably more coming because if you were to say that the Dodgers have a chance to be the team of the 2020s, 2 World Series already. 2 of the 4 belong to the Dodgers.
Right.
They've got this core locked up. There's probably going to be more star power on the way in there. Who knows what they do with Teoscar Hernandez? We're going to talk to Brandon Gomes about that when we get him on the program here coming up in a moment. But this is how difficult it is, right? Top spenders during the offseason and where they finished the last 4 years. San Diego, Rangers, Mets, they all missed the postseason. It's not like they got there and lost the World Series. They didn't even get there. Let's go back the previous 5 years. Again, spotty results. Angels spent a lot of money in 2019 when they re-upped Trout, missed the postseason. Cubs lost in the wild card. Dodgers lost the World Series in 2017 to Houston. The Giants spent a ton of money and lost in the division series. And the Marlins, that was the year that they re-upped Stanton to that huge number. They missed the postseason altogether. So, again, you don't just win the winter and then win the World Series. What the Dodgers did was pretty special.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is they won the winter by making the moves that they did. Obviously, Ohtani's a big piece of that. But they also had a foundation built. You know, they still have a staple of young players that they continue to bring to the big leagues. You know, you look at Paez, you look at Look at Gavin Lux. You start looking around at some of the young players. They continue to drop in here and there. I mean, Cody Bellinger came through the system. Jock Peterson came through the system.
That's right.
And they continued. Will Smith. I mean, you look at what they've been able to do. Walker Buehler. I mean, you think about what they've done. We talk about the big star money or the trades you made for Mookie or whatever, or Freddie Freeman, but the foundation is always laid with the minor league system.
One of my favorite stories on this kind of incarnation of the Dodgers roster is Max Muncy, because he was never a star, right? And he was a reclamation project off the Oakland roster. Yeah. A converted catcher who made himself a better player when he got to the Dodgers, and he's now almost an indispensable part of their success. So it's not just we're going to outbid everybody for Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts.
Right.
It's we grabbed a couple guys, we made them better, we put them in our system, and Muncy's a great example of that.
Well, and a lot of that is they have great coaching. The one thing they have not gotten away from is coaching. Mm-hmm. They have the analytics. They did a lot of stuff. Diamond Kinetics was out front, all those type of things, and they've done all those things. But they've been able to mix the two. We keep hearing about that a lot. Old school, new school. They've done both. And what the Dodgers have done is they've kept baseball people to coach the players to say, here's what the numbers are showing you. Here's how you develop it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, hey, your chase rate is bad. Well, how do I fix it?
Yeah.
They got baseball people that are teaching the game. So they've been able to do the whole thing, man.
You know, yesterday, I'm glad we started talking about this, because yesterday we were having the discussion on the Marlins managerial opening, the only one that's out there right now. And I had the idea that maybe the next Marlins manager is going to come from the Dodgers, because Clayton McCullough's name has been mentioned a lot. I threw out Miguel Rojas as a player manager. I forgot one dude, and I'm glad I have a chance to clean that up. What about Bob Guerin getting back into the managerial business? Yeah. Right? He's been a bench coach. He's been with Doc for a while now, managed the A's. He's got chops. I still think that the next Marlins manager is going to come from the Dodgers' brain. It's going to come from Blue.
Well,
you know, that success breeds. Everybody wants to, like, it's like in college football, right? You have a competitive program.
You have the tree.
The tree. Like the coordinators get head coaching jobs.
Like my boy Dan Lanning. Came from Georgia. He started with Nick Saban, Alabama.
Example.
Now he's the #1 ranked team in the country. Just saying.
Let me ask you this question on the Dodgers. Do you think that they're prioritizing bringing back Teoscar Hernandez? He was an integral part of their lineup last year. But there's other places they could go for that spot on the market. How do you think they've used
I think Teoscar's a wait and see. Would we like to have you back? Absolutely, we love you. But if we can get Soto, sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of where it's at.
This guy was so good for them, man.
He was great.
I mean, there was a time when
you have to go above and beyond him for him not to be back. And the only above and beyond would be Soto. Right?
Santander.
Even Santander doesn't bring, I think, the defense that he brings in left field and all the different things. I think it's a different mix.
If Baltimore loses Santander,
they're going to lose him.
Okay, well, then they better prioritize this dude. Yeah. Because this is the next best option as a corner outfielder that can hit for power on the market. That isn't so.
And I thought Teoscar, again, almost like Edman did for me, watching him play, watching Tommy Edman every day for 2 and 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Because you don't watch every team every day unless you're following that club. That's what I love about the playoffs. He took me to a whole nother level of respect as him as a player. I liked him, but, man, he went to another level. Teoscar did that. I didn't know his defense was as good as it is. He made some great plays. Running in, catching balls, going back over his shoulder.
Throwing people
out. He showed he can really defend that position.
Yeah.
And he hits, obviously in the postseason, you're facing the best pitching. He hits the best pitching.
Well, we hope to continue this Dodger thread after a quick break, because we're still efforting getting Brandon Gomes on the phone, talking to the Dodgers GM. 2-2 to Harvey Keene.
You do that pretty good.
More Dodger talk coming up next. Insights presented by Sage, and as promised, Brandon Gomes of the Dodgers taking a little time with us from the GM meetings in San Antonio this morning. Brandon, thanks for the time. Congratulations on everything that you guys achieved this year. And I know Harold just asked you this during the commercial, but at what point do you get out of celebration mode and get back to work for 2025?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, guys. I mean, felt like right when we got here, the only downside of winning is that you're certainly backed up as far as planning for the off season. But I'll happily take that college cram session any day.
I hear that. Hey, tell us about the parade, because you didn't get it in 2020, and you got it now. So tell us about it.
Yeah. It felt like 2020 got rolled up into it. It was incredible. I mean, the number of people, you could feel the energy, the love of our fans and the city of Los Angeles. Like it was electric. I mean, people just like for miles what it felt like. And then on top of the parade, to come back home to Dodger Stadium and have that be a packed house as well. Like, I mean, it was. I mean, you have really, really high expectations, and it surpassed those by quite a good amount.
We have so many things to ask you about. I'll try to be efficient with my words here. We got the news that Shohei had the shoulder surgery. I want to know, like, where were you and what were your initial reactions when you saw him try to steal that base, 4-1, 8th inning. He goes down, stays down. From that moment to now, talk about what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know what it was. We were up, watching the game in the box, and obviously he was in serious pain. So we had no idea how it was going to play out. We went down following that to see what our doctors were saying, and we had a really intense 9th inning going on simultaneously. But following that, he examined well enough to go out and play, and there was nothing that was going to stop Shohei from continuing in that series. But, seems like after the surgery, we're in a good place to continue to move forward, and looking forward to him being fully healthy back in 2025.
Hey, Brandon, you're a former pitcher, and you don't just grab your right arm and throw it. You got to use your whole body. And so I was thinking about Shohei with the surgery now. Does that set him back pitching and getting ready for opening day, since you guys have such a short window with the left shoulder now having to recover?
We'll get into his rehab some and kind of see where things are at. But, as he gets going, we'll obviously err on the side of caution and be playing the long game here. But, the long-term prognosis is that it won't be anything that affects his pitching, long-term.
I know you can't give us all the company secrets here, Brandon, but I'm gonna ask the question anyway, because Harold and I were speculating on guys on your roster who are free agents now. Teoscar Hernandez was so good for you guys. I know you love him as a player. I know you love him as a person. To the degree that you're comfortable, where are you as a front office with bringing back Teoscar?
Yeah, I mean, Teo obviously meant a ton to this team. You saw what was on the field, but his impact in the clubhouse, the way he mentored younger guys, he's a special guy on and off the field. So we'll continue to have conversations with Teo. We love him. He knows that, he's, a big part of what we did this year. So we'll keep talking and see how things play out.
Hey, so your group, Stan Kasten, Andrew, yourself, Mark Walter at the top, you guys are killers, man. You guys go at it, wanting to win this thing, no doubt about it. So I say that with having a championship won, some people say, that's good, we're good to go. What's your appetite to continue this thing going forward?
Yeah, I mean, our goal every single year is to win a championship, and obviously we've had amazing support from our ownership group year in and year out to do that, and they've always been there to take big swings when we felt like we needed to, and this year's going to be no different. We're ready to go out, and the goal is now to go out and put together another championship caliber team. So even having just won it, that's our goal. No matter what happens each year, you start fresh, and our hope is to be there again next year.
Funny that we're talking about the Dodgers winning another World Series and everything that goes right. And, Clayton Kershaw was not a name that we mentioned a lot because of his inability to pitch, his status. I was a little surprised. Last year, you guys signed him to that contract extension, right, that had a player option, which we learned was declined. Can you clarify what's going on with Clayton? I mean, is he looking for another deal? I'm not sure what the intentions are there.
Yeah, I think for Kirsch is kind of see where he's at into the offseason and continue to, talk with his family and see how he, comes on the other side of a couple things that he's having done. So obviously we want Kirsch back. He wants to be back, but I think it's very much like, let's see how these next few months play out to see what position he's in, and our hopes is to continue to have conversations with him, and hopefully that Clayton's a Dodger for life.
You seen the sketch for the ring yet?
I have not, actually.
It's going to be big, I have a feeling.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a small ring. That'd be my guess. I don't know much outside of that.
I would imagine that's true. Hey, Brandon, we appreciate the time. Thanks for taking a little moment with us here away from the GM meetings in San Antonio. Congrats once again, and we'll visit with you down the road.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Brandon Gomes joining us from the GM meetings. And
今シーズンも盛り上がりを見せた MLB ですが、ここからのオフシーズンもファンにとって見逃せない展開が続きそうですね。アトランタ・ブレーブスの主要選手が怪我で開幕戦に間に合わない影響や、ヤンキースがピート・アロンソを狙っている噂、さらにフアン・ソトやアレックス・ブレ・グマンといったスター選手の移籍先に関する話題など、各チームがどのような戦略を立てていくのかが注目されています。ファンとしてはどのような補強が行われるのか、来シーズンの MLB がどう変わるのか、今からワクワクしてしまいますよね。特に大谷選手の復帰は多くのファンが待ち望んでいるポイントです。彼の肩の怪我がどれだけ影響するのか、そして来シーズンでの復活がどのような形になるのか、期待とともに心配もあるかもしれません。大谷選手は日本とアメリカの両方で熱烈なファンを持つ選手ですし、彼が再びマウンドに立ち、バットを振る姿を楽しみにしている人も多いでしょう。彼のような並外れた才能とメンタルの強さなら、きっと困難を乗り越えて、また素晴らしいパフォーマンスを見せてくれるはずです。また、アメリカと日本の間でも大きな試合が予定されており、大谷選手がその舞台でどのような役割を果たすのかが楽しみです。多くの日本のファンにとって、彼が母国でプレーする姿を見られるのは特別な意味を持ちますし、MLB ファンにとっても国際的なイベントとして見逃せないものとなるでしょう。さらに、クリーブランド・ガーディアンズやミルウォーキー・ブルワーズなど、小規模ながら強力なチームも、このオフシーズンでどのような戦略を立てるのか注目されています。これらのチームは、予算や資源が限られている中でも、創意工夫を凝らして戦力を補強し、プレーオフを目指してきました。その結果、彼らの成長は目覚ましく、ファンも彼らがどのように新シーズンに挑むのか楽しみにしていることでしょう。毎年、シーズンの始まりから終わりまでの戦略の変化がどのようにシーズンに影響を与えるのかは、MLB ファンにとってもワクワクする部分ですよね。一方、ヤンキースやメッツといった資金力のあるチームも、予算を最大限に活用してスター選手を狙っているとの噂が絶えません。特にヤンキースがメッツからピート・アロンソを引き抜く可能性があるとされ、ニューヨークのファンにとっては、彼がどちらのチームでプレーすることになるのかが大きな話題となっています。もしアロンソがジャッジやスタントンと並ぶラインアップを形成することになれば、それはヤンキースにとっても非常に強力な打線となり、ライバルチームにとって大きな脅威となるでしょう。その未来を想像するだけでも、今から興奮してしまいます。このように、オフシーズンにはフロントオフィスが重要な役割を果たし、各チームの今後の成績が大きく左右されます。例えば、ミルウォーキー・ブルワーズのマット・アノルドは、今年の最優秀経営者として称賛されており、彼のようなリーダーアップがチームの成功にどのように貢献するのかが注目されています。MLB は 選手の実力だけでなく、優れた経営者たちがそれぞれのチームに持ち込む戦略や創造性によって成り立っているのです。ファンにとっては、どのチームがどのような補強を行い、新シーズンにどんな姿で登場するのかは非常に気になるところです。また、近年はデータ分析や先進技術の導入によって、野球の戦略がますます多様化しています。これにより、戦略の練り方や選手起用の方法がチームごとに異なり、どのチームが一歩先を行くのかも楽しみな要素の一つです。特に小規模なチームが新しい戦略を取り入れ、大きな成果を上げることも少なくありません。こうした変化がリーグ全体にどのような影響を与えるのか、これからの数年間がますます注目されるでしょう。このように、オフシーズンも見逃せない話題が満載ですが、皆さんはどのように感じていますか？お気に入りの選手がどのチームでプレーしてほしいと思いますか？また、各チームの補強や戦略についての意見も、ぜひコメント欄で教えてください。MLB の最新ニュースやハイライトを見逃さないように、ぜひいいねとチャンネル登録をお忘れなく。これからも皆さんと一緒に MLB の魅力を楽しんでいきましょう。